Concludes Public Law 231, notice of this meeting was provided to the press, occurring in the Galloway Township Municipal Building on January 20th, 2018. We have a motion for the approval of the minutes of July 23rd meeting, regular meeting. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Reading communication.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Vice President Davies. Our first item is a letter from Karen L. Campbell, who is the Director of the Office of Supplemental Educational Programs, informing us that our 2018-19 bilingual program waiver request was approved. And our second item is a letter from Bruce Bassetti of Bassetti Photos regarding the commission received by the schools for the 2017-18 school year. And it is a total of $5,524.17. And then there was a spring spectacular photography program for another $25.77 for a total of $8,101.17.
Questions, comments from the board? Public comment? Reading of or presentation.
Yes, this evening we have a presentation, as you can see, if you have an agenda in front of you, given by many members of our district leadership administrative team. And I laugh because very often people outside of education are surprised that we work in the summer and they wonder what we do. Well, for anyone who is either here this evening or gets to watch this, this is going to give you a good picture of some of the things we do during the summer. So I'm going to name all the administrators and they will be coming up one at a time for different sections, and I'll ask them to reintroduce themselves when they come up. We have our Director of Special Education, Dr. Jennifer Baldwin, our District Technical Services Manager, Mr. Phil Chapman. We have Director of Curriculum, Mr. Michael Hinman, Director of Curriculum, Mrs. Betty Napoli, and our District Operations Manager, Mr. Rocco Rossetti.
Some board members may want to move so that you can see the presentation. And Mr. Chapman is starting us off.
I apologize, I can't see.
Creator, not you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to hear this. I wanted to mention to everyone here doing this, I did wear this tie tonight because a good friend of mine I used to work with every day gave it to me about 6 years ago. And he told me if I don't ever see that tie, I'd be seriously disappointed. But he's sitting over there at that table right there. He did bring me his tie, so I have to. We had several projects to do this year, not just this summer, but from the start of the end of last summer into this current year. As with anything else that happens in our district, it's always a team effort. In my group, I'm going to mention the names: Tom Ortiz, Joe Phillips, Trish Norman, Greg Rock, and my systems engineer, Secretary Timeless, Gary Kirschman. All of them worked extremely hard. I put a lot of the blame on them this year to get a lot of these things done. We're very fortunate with the support of both the board and mostly our administration was very supportive of everything we needed to do this year, so we got it done. Our first project that I've done talking about is our technology infrastructure retrofit and upgrade. Our district has added 42 new and/or upgraded network switches across the entire district. Luckily and fortunately for us, we have 80% of this cost being absorbed by the Universal Service Funds, which is the E-rate program that you see every once in a while mentioned in the report minutes. What this has done is amplified our internet activity and our connectivity across the district by a magnitude of up to 10 in some instances. It's been able to give us a hold of where we need to get to in order to provide for other projects that I'll talk about a little bit later, that we've been able to do this year that we would not have been able to do. Our plan was to jumpstart our network interconnectivity and our systems over the next 5 years. We were able to do that this year with the help, once again, of our board and our administration, allowing us to move forward on this a little bit quicker than we wanted to. Our external and internal bandwidths. We have two separate networks that go in the district. One is an external network that provides for internet access and for outside inset into our buildings. The other is an internal network, an internet network that we use. And we've been able to upgrade both of those significantly this year through a new addition of Comcast services. We've increased our firewall presence. Our demilitarized zone, which we use to protect the district from attacks, phishing attacks, and or spam-related attacks, has been increased in magnitude once again of 10. We were able to do that this year, once again, through the cooperation and coordination of our people. We've added 480 Chromebooks. We're added to our mobile complement within Galloway Township Public Schools. Our group, my group, prepped and added them to the middle school mobile inventory. We're able to get them up and running. We have the last 72 this week, so we're going to make them. We're going to make it for the last 72 numbers that we got. They were too good. Our local and extra internet and extra district communication upgrades. We upgraded each of the buildings with new Motorola radios. The wide and short band radios were purchased this year and installed for each school, providing for emergency communications from a handheld device. There is also the ability to have a district-wide communications channel for emergency purposes that we set up as channel 1 for our administration team, so they can communicate from each school to school to school in case everything else goes down by the wayside. We lose cellular connectivity, lose network connectivity, all the different things we lose, but we would still always have our wide and short band radio opportunity. In the district, along with our security project, forethought, we added a perimeter wireless capability installed in each school, which means that we now provide internet access and access to our own files and systems from outside of the school building in a defined perimeter around each school. They want to understand, like, why would that be necessary? Well, in the case of the situation where we've just added our video surveillance system, which I'm going to next, we need to have the police and or fire and rescue and or anyone else involved communicate with themselves and or us and anywhere else they need to. With doing this setup the way we've done with the perimeter, we've been able to do that. We'll be able to communicate, have email, whoever we want. If Dr. Quinto has to talk to whatever the building administrator would be, she will be able to do that from the perimeter station outside of the building, in case there's a problem at home. It also provides for, which is probably more important in the long run, outside mobile learning experiences capabilities. We can do anything we want to do anywhere in our area in a defined setup. We had a little trouble with that in the beginning. We were providing internet service for a couple of neighborhoods. We were able to cut that back. I don't know if Dr. will expand on this, so I'm going to go to the last piece first. And then I'll say the finished plan to the upgrade to classroom desktops, labs, laptops, Windows 10, which includes the 180 workstations we use to provide computing services in the 6 labs. That was part of our technology plan that we had set up, and now we've pushed that forward and gotten that done this year as well. The last thing I'll mention to you right now is our new video surveillance system, which is managed by us right now inside. We're going to manage. We were able to install 240 cameras across the district. Each building got a complement of at least 3 times, sometimes even 4 times the amount of cameras that they had previously to this. Once again, with the help of our administration, the district was able to purchase multi-tube 72 terabyte storage systems where we able to keep 60 to 90 days worth of video. The training has gone well the first day, and hopefully the rest of the installation will go as well. With the help of our architect, a consulting engineer, and once again, Dr. Giquito and Ms. Nixon, we were able to do a lot of work in this thing and get it done. I don't know if you want to say anything.
I'll do the Untitled Chapter.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. That was very good. Rocco Rossetti, the operations manager. We, unlike Mr. Chapman in the technology department, we did a lot of stuff at individual schools. We did a couple of things that were district-wide, and I tried to bring everything down by school. So, but I will go extremely helpful in getting all these projects completed and on track, as well as our construction manager, Bob Craig, who was also helpful as well. So district-wide, we had the capital projects, which Gil mentioned, the surveillance upgrade contractor projects district-wide, which are currently going on the installation of security film on all classrooms and office windows. That is something that, again, is ongoing. In fact, we had to do a lot of work in-house to make that happen, which I mentioned next. The installation of aluminum. They could not put the window film on unless we put aluminum around all of the window frames that had wooden frames. So in every classroom window in the district, and that's all the 6 of our schools, we had to put aluminum around them. So that was quite a project that we did in-house. But the security film is going on now. It should be completed before the beginning of the school year. All HVAC units were cleaned, and that's still in progress. And as usual, the filters are on a preventative maintenance schedule. The playground mulching is in progress, and without going through all of it, you can see all the buildings and the classrooms and bathrooms are all deep cleaned. And again, that's still ongoing. A lot of waxing going on in the classrooms, or in the hallways and inside the classrooms. So quickly, Arthur Rand had probably the bulk of the projects. Capital projects, which were the refrigerator freezer box enclosure, the replacement of the boxes themselves, the upgrade of the automated temperature control system, upgrade of the electrical switchgear, and the new transformer, which is in progress. That's supposed to be happening. Everything's going to get set, and the transformers are going to be set up in November. The refrigerator enclosure is 99% done. The boxes are in and they are cooling down. We're hopefully getting food in them on Wednesday. The automated temperature controls are good. We can see them on the computer, and that's a great upgrade to our district because it's a lot newer system than the old medicine system that we had. And the upgrade to the electrical switchgear, again, that's ongoing as well. And that is basically what that does is it isolates the electricity, which protects the building's electricity a lot more than it used to. Quick, the contractor projects were, we had commercial fans installed in the gymnasium to cool it down because, as you very well know, Arthur Rand does not have a space to have big events. So because of that, we installed, Northeast Mechanical installed commercial fans in there to try to cool it down a little bit. The gym floor was repaired and refinished. There was a little bit of water damage that was done in part of the gym, which was repaired and then finished. Phase 2 of the ceiling grid, that's a hallway, and 4 classrooms that the ceiling tiles at the ceiling grid were completely replaced. 5 classrooms were tiled, and hallway tiles, part of the hallway was tiled as well, and then the curtain got replaced. In-house, we had 3 PTAC standalone units, which are smaller HVAC units. Our guys, the maintenance crew, did them, which was a pretty big project because they had to actually cut through the wall and do a lot of hard work for that, so that was really good. GTMS, they probably had the least amount done. There was no capital projects here. Contractor projects go fast. The gym floor was repaired. We had a little termite damage on the gym floor, so that was repaired and refinished. The floor was finished. The purge valve on our chiller was replaced, and that could have potentially caused a big issue, so I'm glad we got that done. It could have spilled oil out all over, but luckily we got it repaired. Installation of an outlet in Mr. B's garden, so there's electricity out there for anybody who wants to use that. And then we had the solar. Our solar got inspected, filters got replaced, and the roof got cleaned because there was a lot of moss growing up there, so we had a contractor go up and clean it, so it's all nice. The generator quick connect, which allows us FEMA could bring a generator in and hook it up to our system and be able to power up, a lot of the building that's after our generator goes out. That's still in progress. That's about 50% done. Pomona, the capital projects, we just had the automated temperature controls there, and we're currently getting doors installed that go into the all-purpose room for security purposes. Reeds Road, the upgrade also had the electrical upgrade to the switchgear, again, which will isolate the electricity and protect the electric in the building. That is, again, that's ongoing as well. Site improvements to the rear of the school. If you've driven by Reeds Road School, you can see all that nice new sod out there. So they did the grading out there to to have some better runoff, water runoff, and that's looking good. Hopefully we can keep that grass growing. Also, they're getting a new transformer as well, and just like Arthur Rain, the pads poured out there, we just need to get that set in place and hooked up. The contractor projects, we had a set of doors replaced, which were security issues, so we had gotten that done. That's the coming from the staff parking lot into the school. We had the gutters replaced on the trailers out back, which needed replacement. The stage curtain was replaced, just like Arthur Rain. 6 rooms are carpeted. The nurse's office had some tile issues, so we retiled that. And the gymnasium floors were finished. In-house, we replaced 2 of the flex couplers on the piping in the boiler room, and we had we rebuilt 2 of the heat pumps. So that was all in-house, which the guys did a great job on that. Roland again had no capital projects. Well, I'm sorry, when I say no, I mean the surveillance system they had. But contractor projects, we had a rooftop unit replaced in the cafeteria. Again, another PTAC unit, which was a standalone HVAC unit. Library carpet was replaced, gymnasium painted, gymnasium refinished. And that's another building. It was GTMS in Roland. It's having the Quick Connect installed, but again, that's about 50% done. We're in the process of getting that done. In-house, the guys replaced the backflow preventer valve on the cooling tower, and that's in progress right now. Over at Smithville, automated temperature controls, rooftop unit there as well. PTAC unit was replaced. Gymnasium was painted. Gymnasium floor was 100% replaced. As you know, we had the water damage earlier in the school year, so that gym got completely redone. We had a set of cafeteria doors done, 5 rooms carpeted, and their parking lot was completely recoated and sealed, which looks very good. And then in-house, they finished over at Smithville. We're replacing the backflow preventer and the cooling tower. And that's it for the facilities. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Baldwin. I'm going to speak with you tonight about what happens in our special education department. As you know, each summer we have extended school year for our students. This service or program is mandated by their IEPs. In addition, this year we had a separate camp that specific children were identified in order to meet their specific needs. So in extended school year, we served 108 students daily. We extended our program this year from a 4-week program to a 6-week program. That was decided to accommodate a number of children that we were bringing back into the school district and matching the service that they had previously had. Our camp was 3 weeks of that 6-week span of time and served 55 students. All of the instruction in both programs was based on their IEP goals. Related services were provided to all the students who required those services each day. So again, this is not something that happens single-handedly. We had about 75 staff members work with us all summer. We're very hands-on with the kids, enjoyed themselves, and really that team effort made all of that happen. Throughout the summer, to keep the kids engaged in coming to school, because you can imagine a lot of them probably want to stay home and play with friends and that type of a thing, we had our Thursday activities. So we combined a couple of the Thursdays to have a bigger event, and that's the picture you see on the slide there. We had our first ever water day, and Pet Rushes worked with us to bring some slides that were appropriate for the kids. The kids and staff all had a blast, and there were not only those things that you see there were a lot of things that the classes themselves made, like water bottles, squirt water bottles, and water tables, and things like that. We had a really good time with them on the very last day of the program. On the other Thursdays, we had Grow Yoga, our local yoga right around the corner. Came in and worked with our kids. Again, this is the 3rd year that they've worked with them. The AC Aquarium was back. That's a program that the children really look forward to. And then once again this year, they also were able to engage in the dress rehearsal that the POPs program put on. In addition, while our children were here, we also did some special programming in the way of professional development and also meeting some of the needs of very specific groups of kids. So the first thing that we focused in on was Writer's Workshop. The staff came in the day after school let out, believe it or not, and they engaged in 2 days worth of, several hours of training each of those days. That staff developer came back and joined us during an extended school year for designated days, where she did what we call as a lab site model, similar to a medical model, where she pushed into classrooms, modeled for the teachers what the teaching should look like, and engaged with our kids. And then the teachers went off and had small groups of kids, and she would coach into those staff members to make sure that they were mastering the skills that she was teaching them. And then all of the staff would come back after the children left, and we engaged in about another hour and a half of training with them to debrief the day, to clarify any of the techniques, and to keep working in that way. So that happened through the month of July with those staff members. The staff are really excited about implementing Writer's Workshop for September in their classrooms. In addition to that, we also continued an effort that we started last year, and that was really focusing in on progress monitoring and how we wrote IEPs and how we're going to monitor those goals. So the staff that were working on that committee came in to prepare materials for their colleagues for when they return to school to give them more direction. In addition, we have continued to expand our deaf and hard of hearing program here in the district. And while the students were here, we had 2 separate days where we identified different adults from the community, all of which were deaf and ranged in a variety of different professional capacities. And they came in and worked with our students on deaf culture and how to really set goals for themselves and push themselves to grow beyond what they think is even capable. So we had some really engaging opportunities for that population of students. And finally, tomorrow morning, bright and early, our staff, we have about 40 staff members joining us right here in the middle school cafeteria, and we will have a co-teacher training presented by Jennifer Uthoff and Shannon Tallman, as well as myself, and we'll work with the staff to prepare our new co-teacher partnerships that are set to start next week. And I'm going to pass it off to Betty.
For our curriculum department, we spent a good amount of time this summer expanding our use of a program called EdConnect as an improvement system for our district as a whole. In previous years, we've been focused more on the student end of EdConnect, where we were able to paint a better picture of the whole student. Everything from pulling data from our student information system to be able to see things much more easily with their grades, benchmark assessments, standardized tests, connections with parents. All of that information is more seamless with our teachers being able to access all that kind of information. This summer, we expanded and went more to the curricular end and are in the process of updating all of our curriculum documents to make sure that they are compliant with CUSAC. And the curricular document kind of gives the big picture of what we're teaching in every subject, and that links to individual instructional units. And various teachers throughout the summer worked in small groups to help design some of these units. So beyond just the traditional written curriculum that we've had in the past that has been online, these instructional units can contain specific links to individual resources for teachers that can enhance their instruction. In addition, moving on from the big picture of curricular documents, we looked at how we can look at day-to-day lessons and how that can be brought into this mix. So next year, teachers of all grade levels and subjects will be using the same system to design their lesson plans. So they can take a look at the online instructional units and then break them down into the daily instructional day and use all those resources and see them all linked together. And then ultimately, we have been in the process of putting more of our benchmark assessments into the system as well. So we have the big curriculum broken down into daily lessons, and then we want to see how students are actually doing and meeting these standards. The assessments are a piece of the puzzle too, so they all work together to be able to support teachers and students and be able to run more specific reports so we can really target specific student needs and look at materials that would be available to enhance instruction to access and meet those needs. Mr. Chapman spoke a few minutes ago about technical services. I'm going to spend a couple minutes highlighting a few of the things that we were working on from an instructional technology perspective. Gil mentioned that, I think it was 480 Chromebooks are getting set up and installed. What that will allow us to have now here at the middle school, every team teacher in the entire building in both 7th and 8th grade will have their own dedicated Chromebook cart for the very first time. So as students move between classes, whether it's ELA, math, science, or social studies, when they walk in the room, they will have access to a Chromebook to be able to use to enhance their instruction, work on assessments, work on online and interactive projects. In addition to that big project at the middle school, we're also always trying to increase how we're implementing STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So 2 main purchases we've made over the last year, and are kind of finishing off this summer, are the inclusion of 3D printers in all of our 4 elementary schools, as well as our middle school. And then we are working on, you can see a picture of it here, virtual reality kits. We had bought and piloted a couple of them last year, but once again, this school year, we will also have access to them in all of the 4 elementary schools as well as the middle school, where we have done some training in the past during our in-service days on a program that's free called Google Expeditions, but we're expanding it even more, where kids can truly go on a field trip and be able to feel like they are in the Sahara or they are in, I don't know, ancient Egypt, and the teacher kind of focuses this expedition and takes them on this little journey as they can experience all these different locations that they would never be able to travel to under normal circumstances. And I know this is coming up today, and one of the items that you're going to be taking a look at, the middle school is going to be involved, if you agree, to a pilot where we have a new technology teacher who is very connected to the world of Google. She was in New York City presenting. She has flown to San Diego in the past to do presentations through Google. So we're very excited with her starting. But she had this opportunity to be able to bring to us this pilot where we will have 25 individual devices with units that didn't cost us any money, where we can explore and utilize this in whole classes throughout the middle school. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hinton.
I'm being told we've run out of time, so I thank you for your attention.
Don't try it.
I'm being told we have some more time. The language arts, big topics. Starting in the summer learning program, we piloted a writing piece similar to what Dr. Baldwin was talking about, a writer's workshop approach, and we have professional development in. And so our PD focus for the afternoons with Krista Atkins and an outside presenter was the notion of getting students ignited into writing using mentor text. And we were thrilled because the summertime is tough to get kids to do just about anything academic. So they were excited about writing at any time of the year is great. But in the summer, we couldn't have been happier. So the culminating activity where the parents came in, we had a good 60 or more, which is a lot for the summertime for a Title I meeting. Dr. Giaquinto met with them, talked to them about Title I items, and then they went to the classrooms and got a chance to see their students' completed work. And in 12 days, some of these students were writing better than they had the previous school year. So we were really pleased how the summer turned out. The kids had, in addition to writing, we had STEM for all students, K through 8. We also included phonics in the younger grades. We had PE going on with cooperative trainings in the upper grades. Our URSA program happened again. And then out of nowhere, out of the blue for me, the chief of police contacted us and said she found money in a program that's been out there and got 10 Chromebooks. You probably saw that in the paper and the Facebook, etc. And identified some 7th and 8th grade students who didn't have access to that kind of technology at home. Gave it to them. The kids were thrilled. Parents were thrilled. I mean, it was goosebumps. So it was great. We're also aligning our DBQs, which are, to clarify, are also known as RSTs. Isn't that helpful? Document-based questions, which are used in social studies, RSTs, which is a research simulated task, which is a model in the park. And we're aligning with 6 to 12. Very pleased with Greater Egg Harbor. Supervisor Brian Aaron contacted us, said that they are really making a push there. We started about 5 years ago, so they're joining with us to really get kids to write critical pieces, starting in 3rd grade all the way through in high school. We don't know what jobs they're going to have, but we know they're going to be able to read and write critically. That's a skill that's not going to go away. Our Lexia online program has been very successful for us in the last few years. We identified IDA and Title I funds to continue that use and expand it. And Lexia just put out a new 6 to 8 program called Power Up, which we piloted this summer. Actually, we had a recent Stockton graduate lead that for us, and then she did such a great job. Administrators coming through the buildings got a chance to see her, along with another intern around the summer learning program. And you'll meet them later because we hired them to work with us for the school year. We're thrilled. Continued membership in the New Jersey Consortium. You may recall that the summer learning program, the last 2 years, we pushed social equity, race and equity, cultural proficiency as our main professional development, and then had that as a highlight throughout the school year. This is a great resource for us to continue that work, and so we are thrilled with the offerings that they have. They have about 9 during the year. They also give us the opportunity to have middle school, high school leadership programs for students, Teachers of Color job fair, and a couple other resources with the superintendent connecting with others. And last year they asked us to come back and share some of the things that we do here in our district as models for other school districts to take advantage of. So we are looking forward to another great year.
Thank you. Some things across the curriculum and across the district. And when we look at providing support, obviously our students are why we're here. And we do a number of things to directly support our students, both academically, socially, emotionally, and physically. Part of supporting students is also supporting our staff members. So I just want to highlight a few of the things that have been district-wide. Again, this year, all students in summer learning and ESY were provided breakfast, and this is a grant that was prepared by our food services director for the district, Mrs. Robin Renster, and we were pleased to do that every day. In addition to that, we again were recipients of food for families throughout the school district from the Let Us Eat Please program, which is from the Food Bank of Southern New Jersey and sponsored by Cooper Levinson Law Firm. In addition to that, we again ran our community education programs, the Pops concert, Peter Pan Jr. was performed this year, and students had a great time and the audiences were very appreciative. As I reported to the board and public in the past, we have had an ongoing committee. Teachers, child study team members, guidance counselors, representatives of every school in the district, along with administrative representatives from the school and district level. And what began as rewriting the student code of conduct has become so much more in terms of looking at what we are doing proactively, preventatively, responsibly, and restoratively. And so last year, we talked about the concept of restorative practices. And one of the things that, whether you're an educator or not, I think we know the power of relationships. The relationships that are built between and among colleagues, between and among students, between and among students and teachers. And one of the ideas behind restorative practices is the importance of building those relationships, but also the importance of repairing those relationships. So if something happens in a classroom, say a situation between a student and teacher, maybe the child is disrespectful, maybe the teacher feels the child isn't performing properly in the class or disrupting the class, maybe the student's not feeling like an equal member of the class, that while there may be consequences involved, we also need to make sure that efforts are made to restore that relationship. Because otherwise, learning is unlikely to continue. Behaviors are likely to continue. And so that work continued throughout this summer with a workshop for staff members that are interested, a meeting of the leadership committee for the restorative practices and code, and there will be ongoing training throughout this school year as well. This summer, just was it last week? I don't know, it's going by too quickly. More than 75 of our district leaders, meaning team leaders, INRS members, TLFs, and the entire curriculum and instruction administrative team, we met for a half day. We are very fortunate that SRI ETTC gives us their lovely facility at no cost, and they give us coffee and tea at no cost. There were a number of different themes this year. The two main purposes of this event, one is building leadership, individual leadership, collaborative leadership, teacher leadership, administrative leadership. The other goal and piece of this is the opportunity to dialogue. While there are team leader meetings during the year, committee meetings during the year, when you have this chunk of time with everyone together, people talking to people from other schools, sometimes the discussions are school-based, district folks with building folks. It's really an opportunity to dig into key issues, get feedback, and set the stage for the school year. One of our themes again this year was listening. Listening seems so simple, yet it is actually very complex. And so for the past 2 years, we've done different activities to enhance our listening skills, both between and among each other. This year, one of the features was how we listen to children. And then finally, and this has in part been mentioned in some of my colleagues who presented earlier, as I think everyone knows, safety and security is a daily and ongoing priority in our school district. So a number of things happened. One of the big pieces was I was able to join Chief Higby and Captain Barber and Lieutenant Jones in interviewing school resource officers. And I am waiting for that final word that the last two that we interviewed have been cleared. And then with all things falling into place, we will have a full-time SRO here at the middle school, and then 4 part-timers to be assigned to the elementary schools with travel out to Pomona as well. In addition to that, again this year we did an extensive and intensive tabletop drill. It was led by Acting Captain Barber. It was every administrator in the district. Mrs. Westcott also joined us, representatives of Galloway Police, Fire, EMTs, Office of Emergency Management. I may be missing someone, but there were probably close to 50 of us in the room. No one knew the scenario in advance. It was presented, and we had to sit there and brainstorm from the minute the incident happened through reunification, communication, all of those different efforts. In addition to that, we have looked at our various plans to see what we need to upgrade, and there will be some minor changes based on things we've learned this year. As the board knows, I spent 4 days at school safety specialist training, and as a follow-up to that, I did meet with the police, and Dr. Baldwin has also been working with me on these initiatives. One of the big things we are putting the finishing touches on is our reunification plans, and there was actually a visit, both Assumption Church and school, as well as Beacon Church, have agreed to serve as reunification sites should we have some type of incident and need to move the students and staff off of campus at any of our schools to one of those sites. So this remains one of our top priorities in the district, and this fall we will be doing a survey of parents and guardians with their perceptions and input regarding safety and security in our schools. So, all right, not too long. Many summers we've done the instructional side. This summer the board asked for the non-instructional side as well. So if we could get the lights back on, and we will certainly entertain any questions or comments from the board first, and then if there are any from the public. Thinking about that?
Mr. Norrie, you have a question?
I'd just like to compliment the presenters. If you notice that all of them are in the vein of saving a lot of money. Julie, hi, very nice, but I've known you for over 25 years and you saved the district. Squeezed more money out of a dollar than Jack Penny ever did. Most people don't know who Jack Penny was, but he's cheaper than I am. And thank you all for all you do. You all save money. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I've seen you doing it. I'll be last too. Any other questions from the board? Is there any public questions or comments? Hearing none.
I have a comment. I thought the presentations were very well done, and I appreciate the effort that you put into conducting your research and presenting it.
Comment to the presenters that I really wouldn't.
They're an awesome team.
Sure. Okay, superintendent's report.
Thank you. The first item is the attorney's report, and for the first time at our board table, effective July 1st, Mrs. Amy Calcalco, partner at Cooper Levinson, is our board attorney. Amy is a product of the Galloway schools, having attended both elementary and middle school in our school district, and it's our pleasure to welcome her to the board table.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Hopefully you can all hear me. So I've had a very busy start to working with Galloway and a very exciting start to working with Galloway. I'm going to give you a brief update from July 1st until now. So I've had the opportunity to have a great transition meeting with the central administration, and we talked about what I would be doing, what we'd be looking at, what the board wanted me to do. In addition, we talked about some other items for the board, such as suggesting some policies to help you and help the board stay on track. Those policies were electronic participation in board meetings, broadcasting board meetings. In addition, we talked about some new laws that came about, S414, commonly known as Pass the Trash, as well as the United States Supreme Court decision in Janus, and I've been working with the Human Resources Director to work with the district and make sure that all of our employees have the appropriate notification and we're doing everything we need to do with them. In addition, I handled a special education matter with Dr. Baldwin, and I reviewed some contracts that are on your agenda, and I reviewed some residency forms. All in all, it's been very exciting, and I'm very happy to be here back in Galloway where I started. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions from the board? No?
Thank you. You may be wondering, how could there possibly be a school opening update after that presentation? But a few items I do want to mention to the board and public. First of all, I want to thank again the administrative team. As you can see, we are very fortunate, just like our building administrators, to have a very quality district administration as well. Back to school information was sent home to families. For most grades, it's a postcard. For grades where there's an orientation program, it generally is a letter. We have also posted information on our website, social media. The letter that I sent to families was sent out today with some broader information. So I know the chatter has already begun in the excitement of those postcards and letters being mailed. This week is staff week. This morning there was a very successful bus driver orientation. Mrs. Nixon, would we say maybe 150 drivers?
At least 160.
I believe it was the biggest turnout we've ever had for a bus driver orientation. Mrs. Debbie Kaufman, our transportation coordinator, obviously was involved. Mrs. Nixon and I greeted the drivers, our assistant principals, some of our district administrators, and the drivers went through various training sessions. I'm, again, very pleased with the turnout. Tomorrow afternoon, we have our district-wide secretarial meeting. Wednesday and Thursday is our new staff orientation. Thursday is also our guest teacher orientation. I have started visiting schools to see how things are progressing. Friday I spent some time at Arthur Brand, mainly because they have the most projects and wanted to see some of those things in person. And I will say, it's with all the projects in the schools, it is taking an extra effort of our maintenance and custodial staff to work around these projects and to make sure everything is ready for school opening. And we are confident that it will be. Our schools will be in fine shape for our staff and student return. Additionally, today was the day when staff members who wanted to volunteer their time could come into the buildings, and I think the parking lots were pretty full. We have very dedicated people here who actually want to come early when we don't want them. So, thank you.
Questions, comments from the board? Ms. Dixon, if I may, Mr. Hand had fleas, he had migraine, and wasn't doing too good. Please take note of that. Okay, curriculum and instruction.
Thank you. I will do a reminder for some of you who have not ever been to a board meeting or haven't been to one in a while. Ms. Nixon and I do not read the agenda items word for word. You have an agenda you can read, so we tend to say a range of numbers and just give highlights. So, in curriculum and instruction this evening is the annual review of all of our district curriculum programs. It is also the approval for the Apollo project. This is the second approval, and this is a project between our school district and Pearson that will look at interim or benchmark assessments and end-of-year assessments. And we're hoping this will contribute to some positive changes in how the state testing system works now. In addition to that, as Mrs. Napoli mentioned, we have the opportunity to be in a pilot program with Google, and there is an item for that. The middle school is submitting a Special Olympics grant. We have items to approve students for home instruction, as well as homeschooling, as well as approval for some student teachers and a practicum nurse.
Questions, comments from the board? I don't know if it's the resolution. I have a resolution.
A motion.
A motion to approve items 1 through 8. Second. Is there any questions or comments from the board? I'm sorry.
That's it.
Is there any public comment? Roll call, please.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Mrs. Avery? Yes. Ms. Goldberg?
Yes.
Mr. Nord?
Yes.
Dr. Parmenter?
Yes.
Vice President Davis?
Yes. Next, finance and school operations.
Thank you. I will turn the microphone over to Chairperson John Nord for a finance meeting update.
Thank you. We met at 6 o'clock tonight and went over the August bill list. We only had a couple minor questions that were answered. We reviewed the June financial report. That's a closeout from last school year. And we also reviewed the 2018 financial reports and cash equal to cash and everything to the balance. We talked about the food service program. We've had a very successful year.
submission of the amended preschool expansion grant for the actual 2018 carryover amount that is listed. Resolution 9 is to approve submission and now, as of this morning, acceptance of the 18-19 preschool education expansion aid application in the amount listed, and to accept the statement of assurances. Resolution 10 is to approve the food service contract between Galloway Township Public Schools and Atlantic Community Charter School for the dinner program at an administrative fee of $2,500 for the 18-19 school year. Resolution 11 and 12 are to approve renewal subscription with Lexia for 5 years and a Dell Financial 5-year lease for Chromebooks. Resolution 13 and 14 are to approve transportation contracts. Resolutions 15 are to approve McKinney-Vento student tuition payable and tuition receivable students. And then resolution 17, 18, 19, 20 are to approve tuition students for special education out of district. And resolution 21 is to approve tutors at Pilgrim Academy, which is non-public funded. Resolution 22 is to approve aides at Pilgrim Academy, also through non-public funds with IDEA. Continuing on to page 9 is a resolution for out-of-district travel.
I have a motion to approve items 1 through 23 in your finance.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Yes. I have a question on item 16. I would like to know, why is there a difference in the tuition fee for the two EdConnect Township students?
Dr. Parmenter, McKinney-Vento is legislation related to homeless students. So there are guidelines that where a student is residing when that student becomes homeless, there is a time period during which that school district is still responsible for the child's education. In some instances, the child remains in that same district. In other instances, they may be in a new district, but that district is still responsible for tuition. So, for example, in number 15, this is a student who the home district where the student was found to be homeless is coming here and Pleasantville pays us. In number 16, it's the opposite case. And that is my very non-attorney explanation of McKinney-Vento.
And thank you, Dr. Pinto. And to clarify, this two students that attended the same dates, they have different services. So it may be, one may be a general education student, the other a special education student. Therefore, the tuition rates vary depending on the program they're in.
Okay, thank you. And I have a question on number 20. My question is, this is about $40 more a day, and I want to know two things. What are we getting for the $40 more a day, and how many days will we be paying this?
So this is a resolution to approve Bancroft tuition rate increase. So Bancroft sets their rates. This is a student that is placed district at Bancroft. It's usually a medical facility for students, but we do not have to say this is the contracted rate. So this is what the rate is for them.
So you're saying it's not negotiable?
Absolutely not. It's set, and the entire state pays the same price.
Okay, all right. That's it for now. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Any public comment or questions? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Goldberg?
Yes.
Mr. Norton?
Yes.
Mrs. Avery? Yes. Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Dr. Parmenter? Yes. And Vice President Davis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Facilities and maintenance.
Vice President Davis will give an update on the following job site meetings that took place August 9th and August 23rd.
Attending meetings, everything seems to be going according to what the contractor said. Timelines, everything, time frames. There's a couple minor problems that have been worked out. And on the end, there's some delay, there will be a delay in some of the work because school will be in session and the buses go around the back of the gym area, and that's where the construction area is working. Other than that, everything is going good, they're meeting their timelines on everything, and there's one or two projects that will be delayed until October to finish because of interference with school, water session, and one in October, I think one in November, if I'm not mistaken. I think Ms. Farmer, you have anything to say?
No, I agree with everything you just said.
Ms. Dixon, updates on anything else?
No, I think you covered it all as well as the words that you did in the presentation. Resolution 1 through 3 are to approve change orders for the reference capital projects that we have ongoing. 2 of the change orders are for credits, and 1 change order is for an increase.
Questions, comments? Let me have a resolution first, or a motion first. Approve items 1 through 3. Any questions, comments from the board? Any public comment or questions? Hearing none, we have a roll call vote.
Dr. Clementer? Yes. Ms. Goldberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Avery? Yes. Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Nord?
Yes.
And Vice President Davis?
Community use of school facilities.
Thank you. On this evening's agenda, we have a request to use our facilities from PAL, AA Youth, the Renegades, Four Seasons, Heartfulness Meditation, Girl and Boy Scout troops. And for each of those items, the school, the dates, and the times are listed.
We have a motion to approve items 1 through 11 in the facilities.
Second.
Questions, comments from the board? Any public comments? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Mr. Nord?
Yes.
Mrs. Avery? Yes. Ms. Goldberg?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Dr. Clementer? Yes. Vice President Davis?
Yes. Personnel.
Thank you. I do feel the need to make a clarification. Mr. Noor mentioned that we had a discussion in finance about a Reed Road acting principal. I do not want there to be rumors around Reed Road staff that we are hiring someone new to come in and work at Reed Road. That is related to Mr. Lakehap serving in both roles at the present time. And with that said, I will go to our first item, and out of respect, when someone puts a letter of intent to retire, I do read these verbatim. This is a resolution to accept with regret the letter of intent to retire from Donna McAvoy, teacher at Reed Road Elementary School, which is effective July 30th, 2019. Mrs. McAvoy has worked in the Galloway Township Public School District for 28 years, and her dedication and service to students and staff are appreciated by our entire school family.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve item number 1 under personnel?
Second.
Any comments from the board? Questions, comments?
She will be missed. She was a great asset to the school and the district.
Anyone else? Any public comment, questions? Hearing none, we have a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Goldberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Avery? Yes. Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Nord?
Yes.
Dr. Clementer? Yes. And Vice President Davis?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 2 is a resolution to accept with regret the letter of intent to retire from William Manganello, 12-month secretary at Galloway Township Middle School, effective November 30th, 2018. Mr. Manganello has worked in our school district for 15 years, and his dedication and service to students and staff are appreciated by our entire school family.
Have a motion to approve item number 2.
Yes, Mr. Gregg.
Do you have any questions, comments from the board? Is there any public comment? Questions? Roll call, please, from item number 2.
Mr. Nord?
Yes.
Mrs. Avery? Yes. Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Ms. Goldberg?
Yes.
Mr. Graham? Dr. Clementer? Vice President Davis?
Yes.
Thank you. Items 2, 3, and 4 are all resignations from existing staff members. I'm sorry, 3, 4, and 5, thank you. Tell me right in front of me.
We have a motion to accept items 3.5 as personnel.
So moved.
Any questions, comments from the board? Any public comment? Questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Gentile.
Yes.
Dr. Clementer. Mrs. Avery. Yes. Ms. Goldberg.
Yes.
Mr. Graham.
Yes.
Mr. Dorn.
Yes.
Vice President Davis.
Yes.
Thank you. Items 6 and 7 are leave requests, and from there we move into hiring of staff. Some of these folks are here with us this evening, and their administrators will be introducing them. In teaching positions, hiring Mary Ellen Lockwood, Janessa Diorio, Jennifer Vitorito, Christy Goddard, Courtney Smith, Brianna Bertzell, Courtney Richardson, Mia Toulon, Stephanie Wilson, and then as our child care program community ed coordinator, Todd Loveland. In classroom assistant positions, Jamie Labus, Sandra Galushka, who's an existing staff member moving to full-time, Carrie Pogue, Karen McNamara, Dondre Dennis, Amy Cooper. In support staff, custodial, Aslam Sahant, Albert Sewell, Terry White, Kim Trofa, Caroline Riella, Carla Haslam, Ann Delbaugh, Susan Coleman, Thai Gershenblatt. That covers through item 32. Item 33 is to increase the substitute secretary hourly rate. Item 34 is to approve substitute teachers, and these are substitute teachers for the first time in our district. Item 35 is for new substitute secretaries. Item 36, food service worker subs. Item 37 is staff transfers, and that is between buildings. And then item 38 is to renew substitutes in all categories.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve items 6 through 38 under personnel?
So
Second.
Any questions, comments from the board?
I have a question. And I know that the business office does a very good job, but I just have a question about the salaries for number 12, 13, and 15. They're all part-time intervention teachers, but one of them is on step, well, all three are on step 1, but on number 12, this person is getting $36,000 and change. And I was just curious about why there's a difference in salary if they're on the same step, the same position.
12 is
Dr. Julie Quinto, it's hours. One's
Thank you.
46.5
And
hours,
Dr.
the other's
Carter,
25.
because I didn't have this question ahead of time, I'm lucky that Mr. Gruffy is here.
It's hours.
Every part-time position is not necessarily the same hours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the board? Great, roll call, please.
Mr. Gentile.
yes.
Ms. Goldberg.
Yes.
Mrs. Avery. Yes. Mr. Graham.
Yes.
Mr. Dorn.
Yes.
Dr. Clementer. Yes. And Vice President Davis.
Yes.
Thank you, and now we are going to pause, and I'll introduce the administrator here from a particular school, and then that administrator will introduce his or her staff. I will start with Mr. Kevin Loy, principal of Arthur Rain Elementary School.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to introduce you guys. This is Brianna Gerstel. She's going to be joining our Arthur Rand school family as a part-time intervention teacher, grades 4 through 6. So welcome.
Welcome. And from Reed's Road School Assistant Principal, Mr. Kevin Loy.
First, I'd like to introduce me from She'll be a part-time intervention teacher. We were looking for someone who's really excited about working with students, someone who experienced working with students who struggle a little bit, someone who was familiar with Galloway's program. We were lucky to find her right across the street in the summer learning program, so we're really excited to have her. And also I have Courtney Richardson. Courtney came a little bit further. Courtney came from Colorado, but she brought 6 years of teaching experience, but even more than years, when I read her resume, I was really impressed with the experience that she had and the training that she had. It really lined up with some of the programs and the initiatives that we're working on in the Township. So again, we're very happy to have her.
And the principal of Smithville Elementary School, Mr. Dave Ragazzi.
You can see we do there's even a better page and a half here. I'll start off with the two that are not present tonight. Mary Ann Lockwood, she's actually on her honeymoon today, so she's going to be returning to us tomorrow. student. She's teaching with Allison Marcello last year in my building. She did a wonderful job for us, and then she also was hired at the end of the year, part of the year here at the middle school as a classroom assistant. She did a wonderful job in the grade class. So we're excited to have them as Dolphins this year. I will introduce Janessa DiOrio. She is coming to us from the Vineland Charter School, and I actually took two from there. She's coming to us from the Vineland Charter School. She taught first grade last year. She has a wealth of experience. She was so impressive in the interview process. We are so excited for her to come to our fourth grade unit and thank you very much. I also have Jennifer Negrito today, and she's also going to be in my fourth grade unit as well, and I'm also still working from the Vineland Charter School as well. Jennifer did teach fourth grade last year at the Vineland Charter School. She also, I believe, I think Janessa subbed for us a little bit at Smithville as well, that student taught. She has such a wealth of experience as well, working with not only struggling students, but ESI students, with Enrichment as well. So we're so excited for her to be in my fourth grade unit as well. Courtney Smith is going to be my other part-time intervention teacher. She's going to be working primarily with the fourth grade unit. And she comes to us with some experience in the fourth grade as well, and we'll get doing maternity leave there. Again, just a wealth of experience, and we're so excited to have her as our part-time interventionist working with our fourth grade students. And last, for Smithville tonight is Stephanie Wilson. She is going to be in my sixth grade unit doing science and social studies. Stephanie has a wealth of experience. She has 14 years of experience working at the Galloway Charter School before they closed. She was also recently at ESS as a DSI teacher, working with some of their the most struggling students. She's done a wonderful job there as well. We can't wait for her to be part of the sixth grade unit this year's science and social studies. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Welcome to all our new staff. We look forward to seeing you in orientation. Next section on the agenda is supplemental positions. And in this section, we have substitute nurse for summer learning, approving folks to conduct training, to coordinate planning during the school year. We had some additional individuals sign up for summer training sessions. We did kindergarten screening earlier in the year, and it had so much registration that we added kindergarten screening again later in the summer. Again, a number of the items where you see them being funded by ESEA Title IIA are additional teachers to attend training. That covers all the way through item 17. And then item 18, we have some additional approvals for the child care program for 18-19.
I have a motion to approve items 1 through 18 under supplemental positions. So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments from the board? Is there any public comment, questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Mr. York?
Yes.
Mrs. Avery?
Yes.
Ms. Goldberg?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Dr. Parmenter? And Vice President Davis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Allison.
Yes, we'll start off with an update from the chairperson, Mr. Gentile.
Thank you. We know in July 26th went through a number of proposed policies. Two of the three at the school boards, and I'm just recommending these policies become one regulation. The first one is to deal with through procedures. It's consistent with the audit that Mr. Moore mentioned earlier that was discussed in the Finance Committee. This is being done from the Department of Agriculture. And this audit is, part of the audit is to ensure we have procedures. I understand that these recently, even what we're proposing, will have some minor changes. They're going to be
I'm sorry. I have to read them before Mr. Davis can do the motion. So we have three policies, procurement procedures, recruitment selection and hiring, and then another version of recruitment selection and hiring. All these are the first reading.
I'll do a motion to approve items 1 through 3 for policy.
So,
Second.
comments from the board? Any public comment? This is the first reading, we'll just be, all those in favor say aye.
We still do
We're
those
supposed to
2
do
days, but they do
roll
not become official until the second reading.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mrs. Avery? Yes. Ms. Goldberg?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Dr. Clementer? Yes. Vice President Davis?
Yes. Notice of public meetings.
Yes, in September, we return to having 2 meetings per month. So you'll see the dates are 10th and the 24th, both here in the GTMS cafeteria at 7 o'clock.
And special events coming up.
Yes, we have listed the various orientations that are happening this week. Additionally, the first day for staff, and then the district-wide opening celebration, which is also Staff Development Day. You then see the times for and the dates for the different orientation programs and our back-to-school nights. If board members wish to be present at back-to-school nights, I would ask you to take note of the dates, and when we meet on the 10th, be prepared to say who would be interested or available at attending any of those meetings. And then on behalf of our Education Foundation, it is the 25th anniversary of the golf tournament, and that is on September 30th.
Any board question, comments about special events coming up? Any public questions or comments? Hearing none? Old business.
Yes, we do have one item under old business with the retirement of Ms. Moore and the hiring of Mrs. Lopresto, who did begin her first full day today. We need to do some appointments that normally happen at reorganization. So Christine will be appointed to the roles listed below: Substance Abuse Coordinator, Homeless Liaison, and Safety and Health Designee.
A motion, please, to approve item number 1 under old business.
So,
Second.
Any questions, comments from the board? Any public comment? Roll call, please.
Mr. Gentile?
yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mrs. Avery? Yes. Ms. Goldberg?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Dr. Clementer? And Vice President Davis?
Yes. Any new business, we'll start with Hunter.
I would like to say welcome to the new staff. I hope you enjoy your years. I hope you enjoy your entire years, your career. And also, I want to go back to the presentation. I was very, very impressed with the presentation. I like the seamless flow of information and the way it's presented. It was really very, very well done. So you should be commended, Dr. Chisholm. And I'm looking forward to the beginning of this new school year because I will be attending some of the events. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Ms. Lee?
No.
Mr. Grant? Mr. North?
All I have to say is, welcome new staff to joining a great school district. Hope you have a special year and years and years. We have our golf tournament on September 30th. I gave the board members a brochure that explains that they're going to make a contribution or attend the dinner on the 30th. And September 20th, at Mickey and Minnie's, the Honest Club is sponsoring a dinner fundraiser. They give a lot of money to the different schools and different programs. So, I guess it starts at 5.
I think it's 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, 5 September 20th at the Mickey and Minnie's House on the 3rd. Thank you.
All I can say is welcome to all new staff and everything. And I just hope that everybody this year has a great year. And remember 2 things that I always push for the students: discipline, teaching discipline, and respect for the older people and themselves and our fellow students. Okay. Is there any comments from the public or anything? Do we have executive session we can make?
We do not.
Got a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much for coming out.